Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have some exciting Daryl Dixon Season 2 news, so yeah, let's get into it and talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have some big news about Daryl Dixon Season 2, and I have my good friend Colt here. You want to say hello, Colt?
Hi everyone, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm happy to have Colt back with me, and we're going to go over this article. We're going to talk about Daryl Dixon Season 2. We have a release date, and we have two images. We're going to talk about what we think about those, and just kind of chill out and just get into this. So, do you want to tell them the release date, or do you remember?
I do not remember.
Okay, so earlier today it was announced that Season 2 will premiere Sunday, September 29th. That's the last Sunday in the month of September. So it looks like the majority of this will take place in October. That's typically the Walking Dead time of the year when you really think about it, don't you think, Colt?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I think every season of The Walking Dead, at least the main show, premiered in October.
Yeah, because the first date was October 17th or something similar to that. It was for season 1.
Yeah, I remember that because I'm a big zombie nut, and every year around that time, I always mark the beginning. I call it Halloween season, and I start October 1st. I start watching horror movies, and I always start with Night of the Living Dead because that's my favorite horror movie, and actually it's my favorite movie. And I'm big into zombie makeup. I do my own makeup and stuff, and usually I'll just kind of won't do anything that day, watch Night of the Living Dead, and work on some kind of makeup while I watch. And I remember seeing a commercial for the very first season of The Walking Dead while I was watching Night of the Living Dead. And I'd never heard of it. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I had first watched Night of the Living Dead, I think when I was 8 years old, because I wasn't old enough to watch those until I was 8. And so I didn't ever watch it till I was 8. I think it was in October too when I saw it. And then that was kind of what first introduced me into the zombie realm of shows and movies and everything.
Well, no one does it quite like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, and when I say The Walking Dead, I mean all the spinoffs. I'm talking about the universe, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody ever can get anywhere near the best look or the best graphics for a zombie film or show.
And to me, and also the writing is so good. A lot of times zombie stuff is super cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay, except for maybe the later seasons of Fear. Fear could be kind of cheesy.
Yeah, I never got into Fear too much. I just didn't feel like The Walking Dead. It just didn't feel like a good show to me. It just didn't feel the way that The Walking Dead hit.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so I just never liked it.
The Walking Dead has a way of making you care about every character.
Mm-hmm.
And Fear failed on that. I mean, I remember watching the first 2 seasons and thinking, I really don't care if any of these people get killed.
Yeah, even in season 1, you didn't know Amy too much, but you could really tell how much Andrea felt, for Amy, with her being her sister and all. But through the first couple episodes before she had died in the show, they really got a bond together after they got back. After they showed Rick with her back with her again. After they left to go and get some supplies from I think it was from Atlanta.
Well, when I think about the 2 shows, I've described it before as The Walking Dead is filet mignon, and Fear is kind of like eating meatloaf off of a trash can lid. That's the way I think about it.
That's a good explanation for it.
I mean, yeah, they're set in the same world, but there's a difference between them.
Yeah, I think they should have been. I think it would have made it better. Even for both shows, is that if they would have maybe combined them, like characters with them more, like not like Morgan going over there to
Yeah.
Fear, but I mean like characters interacting on each other's shows between both, things like there's no way one of them didn't see each other eventually in the show,
And I think with like, when I think they made that decision with Morgan and, with Sherry and Dwight, I think that was all about trying to save Fear, because Fear was like, the toilet had been flushed and it was spinning around waiting to go down. Mm-hmm. And I think they were just trying to give someone a reason to watch Fear. Yeah.
And then as soon as they did that, like the ratings for The Walking Dead started to go down even more than they already had after, the whole thing with Negan did to, Glenn, the rating went down a lot after that happened. But then after Carl died and then after Rick died, the ratings were horrible.
Yeah. I honestly almost quit. I mean, I love it, but I almost quit watching when they killed Carl.
Yeah, I was really close, but I kept going just because of Rick.
Yeah, and that's what kept me going too. And then when Rick left, I thought the show's not going to last, but it was actually really good. And I think it wasn't as good as it could have been. Like, I would love to have seen Rick with Alpha, but Norman Reedus is Daryl Dixon. He really saved that show.
He carried the show.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Denai Guerrero was amazing as Michonne, but Norman Reedus, he kept that show alive.
Yes, he did.
And it's really neat because Norman Reedus stepped up and took over Andrew Lincoln's role, and Daryl Dixon stepped up and took the role of leader when Rick was gone. So it was kind of like neat how they're off screen and on screen, that same character and the actor really kept the show alive, in my opinion.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the only thing I think that kept me going, other than Daryl being there, is that like the thought of Daryl, trying to look for Rick. And so I thought, well, maybe there's going to be a chance that he would show up maybe later, in the show, and not just at a very ending point for 2 minutes at the very end of, the last season 11, episode 24. Like, I thought they were going to show him, maybe earlier in season 10 or maybe a little earlier in season 11, and not just a 2-minute little clip of him,
Yeah, I had hoped for more. I really liked what they did with him, but I'd hoped it'd be more. But I really like what they did with, like, how they showed how troubled Daryl was, like how the guilt that he felt, because a lot of what, I mean, when you really think about it, what happened with Rick was because of Daryl's actions, and Daryl wore that guilt for years.
So he thought he owed it to him to go find him.
Yeah, because they had argued, but he never meant for that to happen to Rick. When
he loved Rick so much.
Yeah, I mean, they brother from another mother. I mean, that they're the best example of that in television.
Yeah, just like siblings fight in real life. Like they fight.
And I don't, and Maggie wouldn't have wanted anything like that to happen to Rick either. They're all family. And at the when you think about it, at the end of the episode, where Rick's last episode, Andrew Lincoln's last episode, when he says, "I found my family," he's not just talking about Michonne. He's talking about all of them.
Yeah, he found everybody.
Yeah. But that was really, I mean, when you thought that was a really fitting way for Rick to go. But I hated that they had to wait so long to even find out that he was alive. Like, that would be so hard.
Yeah, and what I liked about it is that, like, Daryl was talking about how Rick needed to let go of Carl with the whole Negan thing, right? Like keeping Negan alive. You need to let that go, you need to put that to rest. And I was like thinking in my head, how can you say that? You haven't lost a kid. How can you physically say that to a character like to Rick? Yeah. You haven't went through what it was like to lose a kid, other than Sophia, I guess, but that wasn't even technically his kid, but he felt bad that he couldn't find her in time in season 2.
Yeah. And even that was on Rick too. I mean, Rick also, he bears the guilt of all the decisions that he made. And Daryl in that moment, like when he's looking for Rick and he can never find him, he has all that guilt on him, and he felt the guilt from Glenn.
Yeah, a lot of people talk how, oh yeah, it was only Daryl's fault was the reason why they're in that whole mess. Well, yeah, there was two reasons why they're in that mess. For one, Daryl couldn't, stop looking for Dwight. Like after he had killed Denise. He had saw him, and so he had to go running after him. And then in the first place, he had to run after Carol. That wanted to be alone. And then which then got them all captured. I think it was Rosita, Glenn, Daryl, and Michonne that got captured by them
Yeah, that
before
sounds
Rick
right.
and them met him.
That sounds right.
And then there was also like I feel like it was more of Rick's fault even because he's the one that decided that they needed to go and just kill everybody in this in the satellite tower, like satellite station.
Yeah, you're right. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how it would have been neat to see how that would have played out differently if Negan had just shown up at Alexandria and had to come face to face with Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Would Negan have read the situation and realized that he didn't want to mess with Rick? But see, Negan was put in a position where, as being the alpha dog, the top dog, his people had been killed. So he had to retaliate. Otherwise, he'd lose respect of his people. I mean,
that was respected. I mean, he only killed 2 of his people, but then Rick killed, I don't know, like maybe 50 or 40 or 30 or however many of his men,
Yeah. But
the way that Negan did it was bad, though.
It was, but I think Rick felt like they had so many wins that he felt like he was untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And he was wrong. I mean, yeah, eventually, and I love Negan, but I hated Negan at that time.
I did too.
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan played that part so well.
He was perfect for that role.
He was. And he knew exactly what to do to make you hate him and love him. Like, you felt dirty for liking him while you were hating him, if that makes sense.
Like, he had so many, funny parts, like the part where he says, Ricky Dicky, like those kind of parts, right? Or like the part was this you, Rick? I wouldn't have not have messed with that guy, or whatever.
Yeah, with when he had the beard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
that part is what made you like him.
I think my favorite episode of the whole main series. Okay, so maybe 2. I love the episode where Rick, when Carl gets shot in the face and they bring him in to be worked on, and then Rick just loses it and goes out and starts killing the walkers to keep them off so that they have time to work on Carl. That's my absolute favorite episode. And my second favorite episode would be Here's Negan. Oh, is that what it was called?
Yeah, I think it was. And then the one before that, I think it was the last episode of season 6. So season 6, episode 15 was called like shoot, I can't remember what it was called. It was like I can't remember. Oh, the day will come when you won't be.
Yes,
is what it was called.
Yes.
And I thought that was so funny because then I had remembered back in season 1, episode 6 of Dr. Jenner. He had said to Rick, because Rick said, "I'm grateful that you let us do this," and he said, "The day will come when you won't be."
Yeah, they do that so well. They do those little throwbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get into some of this Daryl Dixon stuff. I could talk about The Walking Dead forever, and you're a great person to talk to. Okay, so like we said earlier, the premiere will be Sunday, September the 29th, and we have these 2 images. We'll look at the first one. It's a picture of Daryl. Okay, I can't. Okay, so we'll just look at it like that. That's straight from the teaser that we got around the time that The Ones Who Live was coming on.
Mm-hmm.
We see this. It looks like this group that Daryl's with is ambushing Madame Genet because she's in one of the trucks and they have people in the back. I kind of wonder if Madame Genet has captured Carol, and this is how they reunite. If Carol might be in the back of this truck. What do you think, Colt? Or what do you think of the image?
Yeah, like the image, like I'm gonna say something that I like about the image too is that I like how they have it blurry in the back. It tells you that's an intense moment.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell it's going to be a serious moment, and I think it could be because of what you said, like because Carol might have got captured by Madame Janae because she knew that she talked American, so maybe she thought he might be part of Daryl, and so maybe capturing her could get Daryl to come to her.
That makes perfect sense. And I think this image is probably going to take place in the second half of the first episode.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly. I think they're going to do what they did with The Ones Who Live, like where they're going to show them reunited in the first episode. That would make a lot of sense with it only being 6 episodes, I think is what they said.
Yeah, 6 episodes. So we have to kind of get that part over with, if that makes sense. Because, I really think so. I think like we're going to start off with Carol, and we're going to see Carol with, so we'll go ahead and go down to the next picture with Carol with the motorcycle. And this is when she's in Maine, like where she's tracked Daryl down. She's got his bike and she's trying to find out what happened to him. I think that's probably going to be like the first 15, 20 minutes. And then we'll see her getting to France. And, have you seen let me go scrolling down. Have you seen this image right here where Carol is in a car surrounded by walkers?
Yes, I have.
So I kind of think that Madame Janae's group is going to find Carol like this. They're going to realize that she speaks English. And they're going to make the connection, like you said, that with Daryl, and then it'll switch to Daryl, and we'll see this scene where Daryl is with the gun, and they're doing the attack on Madame Janae, and I think Carol is going to be in the back of that truck, and I think I think we're going to end with Carol like coming into focus because there were some other people, and there's somebody behind those people in the trailer, and the teaser, I mean. And I think Carol will step out around and Daryl, they'll reunite, and then that'll be the end of the episode. That's kind of my prediction.
Yeah, that's an amazing prediction. I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, like go back to that image where Carol's with the bike. I think this is when she had first got to that spot that that had Daryl's bike and everything that guy took it from, because she doesn't have the crossbow yet, and in the teaser, later in the teaser, you can see that she has his crossbow, but it doesn't look like she has his crossbow yet, so she must be arriving to that place that they were at.
Yeah, I think this is, I think weren't they in Maine?
Yeah, Maine, yep.
Because it seems like Daryl was caught when Daryl's talking to Carol, the scene that everybody wanted to like talk about, where Carol says someone came back. I think Daryl was in Maine there. I think if I'm right, if I remember it right.
Yeah, and I think that they'll show Carol talking to Daryl, like on like the walkie-talkie, like as the very start of it.
That'd be a great way for it to start.
Because then they don't have to show any of the main characters. They can just show her on the walkie-talkie, or the radio, just talking to him or whatever, and then we can actually see who she was fully talking about. And who knows, maybe they'll even show that character in the show. Who knows?
You know what I think?
I had heard.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just heard that Andrew Lincoln was actually there, like on set of where like when they were filming season 2 of Daryl Dixon's. What I heard.
And I've seen some stuff where they're talking about that there might be an Andrew Lincoln cameo, a Rick cameo in this season, but I don't know. You can read a lot of stuff online. Yeah,
it makes sense.
It really does. But now, what I think would be neat is if how you said it. It starts with Carol, and she's on the radio, and she says the exact same line that she did when we see it on Daryl's point of view. But we don't hear who it was that came back until the very end of the episode. It starts where we saw and ends at the end of the episode with Carol telling Daryl when they see each other.
That'd be such a good foreshadow. Or not foreshadow, but...
Because we'd have to wait, too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to, like, the whole episode is going to be like a cliffhanger from that first opening scene.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest question I think everybody has going into season 2 is who was Carol talking about?
Mm-hmm. So they got to tell us, at least at some point during the season show. Maybe she'll even, or maybe she'll wait until she's with Daryl, in a spot where they can talk. And maybe she'll wait, and then we'll go to the flashback of that.
Yeah, that would be good too.
Like her telling the story about what that, of what she actually said.
But I have complete faith in these writers because season 1 was amazing.
Oh yeah, I love season 1.
I mean, if I had to rate how I like the shows, I'm gonna give The Walking Dead number 1, like the main show, just because it was so good for so long. You know what I mean? And I have so many great memories and like just watching that. Then if I had to give number 2, I'd give number 2 to The Ones Who Live, just because I wanted to see Rick so bad again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then number 3's got to be Daryl Dixon. And then 4 would be Dead City. But I've heard Dead City season 2 is going to be a lot better. So
yeah, like I wasn't a super fan. I watched the whole thing of Dead City just because I love Negan and I love Maggie, but I just wasn't a big fan of the plot of it, at least.
Yeah, and it almost pains me to say this, but when I was talking about the cheese factor and like this thing's getting kind of cheesy, I kind of felt that a little bit with Dead City, and
yeah,
it's not, but that's not on Lauren Cohen, and it's not on Jeffrey Dean Morgan, because those two are amazing. I think it was maybe some of the writing, and I think it might have been the dialogue. And it also, when I watched that, I was at the beach, and I don't know if I've ever said this on stream, but I have MS, and when it gets above 80 degrees, my body kind of shuts down. So I spent the whole vacation mostly inside, just in the air conditioning. And that's what I did. I watched the whole season in like 2 days. And it could have just been that I was kind of in a bad mood because I couldn't go out and hang out with Fred. Fred's my son if you've never been on stream with me. But I couldn't go and like play at the beach with Fred and hang out with my wife and my mother-in-law. Now I did get to go a few mornings, but we'd go like 6 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock it was too hot for me, so I'd come home or go back to our the place we were staying. And so yeah, I was in kind of like a sour mood anyway. So I could have just been, I was sour on the show just because I was sour in general, you know what I mean? So I feel like I should go back. Before season 2 of Dead City, I will go back and watch the entire first season just to give it like a fair look.
Yeah, maybe we even do like a stream, like a watch along stream thing, like you have done with like the Invasion show.
Yeah, and that would be great. Yeah, we should do that. We should start doing that.
Because maybe if I watch it again, maybe I'll begin to like it more. Maybe.
Yeah, and we could chat like this as we watch. Yeah, that sounds good. Hey guys, let us know in the comments if that'd be something you'd want to hang out with us with what we do. I don't really know what else we have to talk about, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up if that's okay with you, Colt.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Before we do go, I do want to say, please go check out Colt. I have his YouTube and his TikTok down at the bottom of the screen. You can see it. It says you can find Colt Snacks 12, and it has his YouTube and his TikTok. There will be links in the description, and it would mean a lot to me, and I know it would mean a lot to him. He is a great content creator. Has some of the best Walking Dead shorts I've found, and yeah, please just show him some love. And Colt, I'm going to let you sign us off. You can say whatever you want to say, and then I'll stop the recording.
Okay. Thank you everybody for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. It mean a lot to both of us. And if you enjoy watching Walking Dead stuff and everything like that, you would enjoy both our content. If you're new, and if you're not new, if you're new, welcome in. And if you're not new, I'll see you guys later. Peace.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you in the next one.